get this episode going, and we can discuss that now. Hey, welcome to FailCraftCast. I'm Hammy, hope you're well and good. In our Hearthstone half hour today, we're taking a look at a StrifeCro mid-range-ish, tempo-ish Paladin. Updated for Goblins versus Gnomes. It's been doing some good laddering and good legending for some people, with a few little tweaks here and there. So this kind of deck has been around for a while. It's been bolstered, not only with Bolvar Full Dragon, but also with Muster for Battle and Quartermaster. Paladin's had some fun cards. So Trump was Quartermastering straight from the release, and long story short, that Quartermaster style deck, you throw down as many Silverhand recruits with Muster for Battle as possible, you then Quartermaster, buffing all of those by +2/+2. So that's kind of like a finishing combo or a mid-game taking over the table and being a very, very evil combo. Where this deck does things a little bit more differently is that it tries to throw down big threats turn by turn by turn by turn and have a very, very solid curve. There are some swaps, trades and similars that you can put in. If you are playing hunters, you are going to struggle a bit. If you're playing anything ridiculously aggressive in the early game, you're going to struggle a bit. But if there's an aggro metagame, such as those decks, you can take some things in. So turn by turn, what do we do? Firstly, mana curve. You can see we're throwing a lot down turns 2 through 5, and then we have a couple of big finishes. How do we get to that point? Well, in the early game, you have a lot of control here. The Equality plus Consecrate combo, change all of your opponent's minions' health to 1, as well as your own, but then Consecrate does 2 damage to all enemies, so you can be removing those. The RB Cows silencing nasty things in the early game. Is it a nasty Undertaker? You can deck that. If it's a nasty Hunter card, you can save it for the late game to punch through taunts if you really need, but that's probably going to be used early game aggressively to get rid of nasty things that your opponent has and help you just survive. If you get to this stage, Knife Juggler plus Muster for Battle, nice combo. Summon 3 minions, you get 3 chip damage off the Knife Juggler. The shielded mini-bots will help you trade very efficiently against lots of early game aggro cards if you get those out, worth mulliganing for. Older Peacekeeper will let you reduce the attack of big, nasty, threatening minions, so you want some of those involved. Big game for removing the big cards. Lil Exis was traded in for an Acolyte of Pain. So this is the one you can switch in and out. Lots of things with death rattles kicking around. This gives +1/+1 for each enemy death rattle. If your opponent somehow gets 2 or 3 death rattles down, this becomes a 5/6 and a silence target, or they have to face roll all of their stuff or spend some big kind of removal on getting rid of it. So that is the value of this little exorcist. Mind control tech, nice against aggro for grabbing stuff, can also be fun against late game decks such as Handlock. For example, if you can steal big tanking, taunting giants, big legendaries, so on and so forth. So play this as you need. If you need to get the table back in the early game against an aggro deck, I wouldn't have any worries really about throwing down that mind control tech in the early game. True Silver Champs, always used in Paladin. Attack, control minions. Don't do to the face unless you really have no other options. The 2 here will mitigate a bit of the damage you take from the minions, plus you do have healing options to get you back in the late game. So don't be afraid to control with True Silver Champs, a brilliant, brilliant basic card, available to any of you new players very easily just by leveling up your Paladin. So, 2 Piloted Shredders, good for grabbing the mid-game control of the table, good because of their 2/1 ability. Death Rattle, summoning that random 2 cost. You're going to get a second bite of the cherry when it comes to making trades, getting your opponent's minions off the table, and similar. Into an Antique Healbot on turn 5, heal yourself up when you need. Lotheb stops your opponent effectively playing spells for a turn whilst giving you a 5/5 minion that you can use to make good trades. 2 Quartermasters for buffing your Silverhand Knights however you've obtained them, and kind of like a hunter. If you're a Paladin, you've got nothing else to do, you hit your hero power, you get those Silverhand Knights on the table, a Quartermaster will arrive at some point, and you want to be ready when he does. The Belchers, really, really awkward tanks to get around because of the second tank that they summon. That will really slow down your opponent in a bunch of ways. You're going to need it most probably, particularly if you're getting rushed or if you're setting yourself up for your late game victory. If you get to this stage, the Piloted Golem will make some good trades for you, albeit attack to the face. Black Knight is for stomping away taunts to help you win and can get rid of big attacking threats in the process. Boom, a finisher really. The 2 Boom Bots too. A lot of big game hunter around in this metagame. You can swap for a Trogs or the Earthanator or a similar chunky legendary of your fancying, but it's got to be something that's helping you trying to finish and close out this game. That's the most important thing. And then Lay on Hands, that's going to be giving you your heals. followed by Tirion Fordring, that ubiquitous everywhere Paladin finisher that's so awesome. So that is the first part of our episode. We've taken a little look at the deck and how it can work. Part number 2, let's jump into a couple of games and see how this deck's going to work for us. Big hello if you've joined us new. By the way, this is Shep. My wiser half has very kindly agreed, Shep's agent has agreed that he can be on stream today. He's a little bit dozy. He has been for a big walk today. So first up we've got a priest, interesting. Now 3 different kinds of priests we can take a look at. There's Death Rattly priest going around, that will be dropping an Undertaker and trying to swarm with Death Rattles. There's a Mechie priest also that's doing the rounds too. What do we really want? Well, we want early game tradey cards. I don't mind Must of Battle. Against a priest I'm quite happy to lose 3 of those, keep the muster just in case, but really when I'm looking for shielded mini bots. Ooh, okay, should have probably kept the older Peacekeeper. Not so great. So maybe a tad of a mistake in that mulligan. In this deck, of course, we don't have huge early gamers. The Knife Juggler I'm quite happy with. I can Knife Juggler into a Muster for Battle. That's all well and good. No point really me coining into anything because there's not huge follow-up. My Priest, of course, could decide to Shadow Word Paint that off the table. It's a bit of a risk. Okay, let's go for the risk. Really, I should have probably waited and then drop this turn 2. It's one more turn, one less turn that my opponent hasn't got a Shadow Word Paint, but you could very easily see a hard Shadow Word Paint from the priest here, or perhaps a smite. We got lucky there, I'm not ashamed to admit it. I can then throw down my Silverhand Knight, we can do a chip, and then that, so we got a little bit of pressure on early. So we're not trying to all out rush with this, we do have some late game solidity with this deck, absolutely. Down goes an Northshire Cleric. We're going to see a Power Word Shield that's going to be the card draw. Opponent getting themselves set up. No, I wouldn't say struggling. Double Northshire Cleric, very interesting indeed. So can we get rid of all of this? Well, okay, let's just go for it. Let's muster for battle. We're going to do 3 chip. 1, 2, 3. Oh, the Fortune and the Pain. So this will let me do some removal. I'm actually going to go for this because I don't have my Quartermaster, so sadly. But I do want to stop my opponent drawing huge amounts of cards. Now imagine my opponent will probably take the bait there and do the trade unless they've got another card that will remove that. Of course, Shadow Word Pain, Smite, all of these could be coming in for that Knife Juggler to get removed off the table. Otherwise, a straight face trade. So nice good early aggression here. No said we weren't going hugely aggro, but we managed to get a lot of pressure on early doors. Thoughtsteel, just grabbing 2, and what are they going to get? A Consecrate, they could well have. Copy 2, they could have just about anything in fact. So opponent, now just going for that trade, but remember my opponent has now got some nasty Paladin cards that could probably cause me some problems with. I don't like that at all. I don't have a Consecrate, so I'm going to Knife Juggler into a shielded minibot. And let's just keep chipping away. Now, Holy Nova could come out from my opponent here. It's going to give me a rather sad day. Consecrate, I've got 1 Consecrate in my deck. Remember that Thoughtsteel is grabbing from your deck. 2 different ways my opponent could cause severe pain to this entire board on 5 mana. And there's the one we expected. Holy Nova. Healing. Wrecking. We're dropping into the next turn. In comes a True Silver Champ. I'm going to actually forsake this single. I don't need the Hillbot at this point in time. I'm going to throw this down. I'm going to throw 6 down, so we get my opponent down to 13. Now I've got plenty of health, I'm riding high and pretty. Dr. Boom is going to go down on turn 7. I've got Equality and Consecrate for a full board clear if I need to, if my opponent somehow gets a bunch of minions down. So we're feeling pretty decent there. In comes a Shielded Minibot. We know one of the 2 cards now that my opponent drew with that Thoughtsteel. In comes a Dark Cultist. And we're going to see trades start happening there. I can throw in another shield bot. I don't need that antique heal bot for the heal. That would be a waste at this point in time. We could Equality Consecrate them off the table. Feels a tad on the excessive side. I don't really want that fully buffed up. Do I just go for face and risk a tank coming out with Dr. Boom. I could make a very reasonable trade here that will get all of that off the table. I'm gonna go for the... Oh, what have I done? This was a terrible play. I've totally worked that out incorrectly. Oh dear, that was not a good play. That was a mathematical failure because by the time I played the mini-bot on equality, the mini-bot play properly messed that up. Oh dear. Okay, well, let's see if we can come back from that. Not ideal. I can still play Doc Boom. I've still got Consecrate. Of course, if I kill everything at the same time, which I cannot do. Well, I can do actually. I just can't play Boom. In that comes, which can remove this, and then that. I'm just going to buff that up. Okay. Right, so in this case, I think we just go for Boom and try and pressure through for the victory. Shadow of Death, Priests do of course pack those. Let's take a little look up exactly how much I messed that up. So I had 6 and then I believe I played something that removed my 6 combo. In comes the Bomb Boom times 1, Sylvanas, unless they can sacrifice that. Comes a Lesser Heal, restoring health, wanting to steal Boom. Can I get the table done before that stage? A Quartermaster is not going to help me. Now if I sacrifice against that, I've got a chance of a loss. Piloted Sky Golems stolen by Sylvanas would be nasty indeed. Need to be a tad careful as to how we approach this one. So if I kill this, that's just going to make Sylvanas even harder to kill. But Sylvanas could then still be nicking things. If I actually give Sylvanas 9 health, then can't wreck herself against me in either direction, so I actually don't mind that too much. Going for face, I don't quite have enough to force the victory. I'm going to give that health to Sylvanas, make it harder for Sylvanas to get robbed, and then let's try this. Attack to face. We've got enough for lethal. Can my opponent sacrifice their own Sylvanas? At the moment, no. So in that situation, may have worked in my favour. Bit of a gamble, realising that unless opponent can sacrifice the Bombot, ooh, Holy Nova comes in. Oh, is that going to allow a steal? It is. That was nicely played. Steals my Piloted Sky Golem. Her opponent's health going back up. Oh, feels as though we may have messed up a play here. But it's a good learning experience. So we can now go in for the evilness of this. So, there you go. We now have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oof, we are close. We are close, but are we no cigar? That is the question. So remember, we still have Tirion Fordring. Okay, one straight trade. In comes on Wailing Souls, silencing all other minions if it was played from hand. But remember, a battle cry from a summon like that doesn't work. Down goes my opponent's own Doc Boom. And so the funnies begin. Okay, Tirion comes down. Now, do we just go for an interesting control play, or do we just whap Tirion down and say, you know what, I think we're going to be close to victory? Remember, of course, Tirion can swing for that 5, which will be so nasty too. Let's Tirion. I'm going to put my faith in the light. Alrighty then, so I'm very sure of victory. Oh, and a mind control comes in. Hideous. Should have expected that. Mistake upon mistake upon mistake, and I think we've actually lost this. Yeah, and this has been thrown from a position of wonder. We've turned this into a position of horror. Now, should have kind of expected the mind control. So, my mistakes there I think have led to this most possible loss. I'm going to see if there's anything we can do to get this back. Remember, when Tirion goes down, we're still going to have some problems. let's get a new game going. I think that that's pretty much going to be us. So, what did we mess up there? Several things indeed. Early to early mid-game started working reasonably well. Should have known the mind control was coming. Should have gone for a more pressured play there. And then I think a couple of the trades in the mid-game didn't work out quite so well. Really should have made sure that we got our opponent under a little bit more control. Opponent's health was low. There was that one key moment. I think there was a misplay against the Sylvanas. When they started nicking our minions, nicked our 6-mana Shredder, and then started the comeback. Dealing with that Sylvanas not quite so easy. Buffing the health I think was still the right move, otherwise they could have just suicided it against the dot boom straight away anyway. Okay, we've got a Warlock on this occasion, so I think that we just do a full-on mulligan there and assume that we're going to be playing an aggro deck. So we'll play a couple more games to see if we can get this back. Shielded minibot into 2 large minions. Shielded minibot great, large minions not so great. Okay, so let's see what comes out of our opponent here. Lots of minions in the first couple of turns. We can probably say a zoo or a demon lock is a fair bet. Nothing too much, or lots of life tapping. Okay, let's assume that we're looking at a hand lock, in which case I don't mind a big game hunter in hand nice and early. That will let me remove big nasty giants as early as we like. In terms of our deck, we will need to make sure that we get up our mana ramp quite quick. Kind of want to grab my mind control tech into hand quite early. Would quite like a quality and consecrate in hand also for removal. That would be good. And Muster of a Battle, always handy for chip damage. Muster and Quartermaster would be pretty cool. In that last game as well, there was one stage where if we'd drawn a Quartermaster a bit earlier, we would have had a lot more pressure on the table a lot earlier in the game, and that would have been quite helpful too. But still some big misplays. Right, we've got the Quartermaster this time, but no Muster for Battle. So let's just keep trading away. Could have other options, could have summoned 2 of those and then Quartermastered the turn after. If I was looking to play into the Quartermaster, that would have been a wiser play. Because of course we still don't have anything until a 6-drop and we have to keep the big game hunter. In comes a Mortal Coil. Ooh, an expensive piece of control there. Now I've got an alternative playing the Sludge Belcher at that stage in the game. So I'm going to Quartermaster there, keep tapping away. I'm going to assume a giant is incoming. We have 7 cards in our opponent's hand. Not quite within Molten Giant territory, sorry, Mountain Giant territory. Not lost enough health to be in Molten Giant territory either. Mountain Giant costs a mana less for every card opponent has in hand. Well, you have in hand, so this hand lock would be playing. Or Molten Giant costs less mana for damage that you have sustained. So when you're on very low health playing as a Warlock or any particular hero, you can play a Molten Giant for not too much at all. Down goes Twilight Drake. I'm going to see 8 there. That is very likely to get turned into a tank on the next couple of turns. So opponent will play, if they're turning that into a tank, they're going to play minions regardless. Big Game Hunter, no. Sludge Belcher will make things quite awkward for my opponent. Don't quite feel like it's Quartermaster time yet, so I'm just going to attack to the face for more. So, life tap, and interesting, we do not have anything else, so this is a very good occasion to muster for battle, or I can start throwing up spells. So I'm actually going to muster, I'm going to take that risk, because we've got the Quartermaster, unless my opponent has a Hellfire, then can sacrifice one of my littlies. Let's throw down another one on the table as well. My opponent's on 3, so I've got lethal next turn with my Quartermaster. Unless they can Hellfire. The other alternative is Shadow Flame, destroy a minion that does that much damage to all enemy minions. Comes a Mortal Coil. Just going to drop that, produce a 2, a Hellfire will just wreck the joint, and there we go. So, went for the win. Down comes a Molten. With 1 mana left, they're not going to be able to play tanks. Down goes a coin that could create the Sunshrew Protector that we're looking for. Dark Bomb removes my final minion. So, opponent playing hard on this occasion. I actually think the play forward here is simple. It's a control play into 2 minions that can finish the game. Shame I didn't get the Quartermaster off, but I've got Dock Boom. I can throw it in next turn. I think it's well worth a Dock Boom as well. Straight trade. Probably going to see a straight trade. 7 worth. We've seen 1 Dock Bomb, 1 Mortal Coil, 1 Hellfire. Second Molten Giant goes down. I fully expect we'll see Antique Heal Bots. Tops up my opponent's health. Very nice indeed. True Silver Champ. I can go for face. I can control these away. What would be my decision? Dock Boom would really just be a chase for face, but you know that opponent is probably lacking tank cards or will be drawing into those tank cards soon. So I'm going to trade this away. Of all cards I draw a Novice Engineer. All the 2 mana cards. Okay, if I got Dock Boom down earlier, maybe we would have forced a way through, but 2 giants have come out. We've seen 2 giants already. So, with Tirion to come, in comes a trade. Twilight Drake goes down. Maybe Defender of Argus. There we go, okay. So all of the tanks now coming up. So far, so expected. Knife Juggler, I can't do any nasty nice chip with that. A Lothar would certainly show my opponent, do some slowing with my opponent. I'm going to... I can get 9's worth on the table. Let's start queuing these up. Drops that down to 6. Another chip damage. These are all coming out very nice. There we go. So I can... it's a slight shame that I have to do that, but in for 2, drop that down. Remember that I've got my own heal bots, and I've also got the lovely Lay on Hands. That'll top us up for health very nicely as well. Ronald says in chat, Novice Engineer might be the worst 2 cost. I agree completely. A 9 Hellfire, wow, that's aggressive. But you can see it puts my opponent in the position of now almost being there for victory. So I don't think there's any real choice here bar this misplay. Should have played that first. So, as my opponent got enough, should have played Silverhand Repute before my Quartermaster. That would have given me an extra 3. Actually, would have given me the lethal damage I required. So, big misplay there. Too hasty, too hasty. Should have managed to get that Silverhander. Oh, and my Nemesis Sylvanas comes out again. Ambical just silences the 1. We'll just get another blow to the face. And actually going for trade. Ancient Watcher cannot attack, but hopefully looking for another tank. So, what do we have now? Consecrates. Wow, that will let me go to the face, but it will then set up Sylvanas to steal minions in a nasty fashion. Okay. Does the Warlock have 7 burst? If he can silence the Watcher, then I'm in trouble. But we've already seen the Owl come down. So the real question is, even if he does steal something, it's not going to help now. I've got enough on board unless he creates a tank. A life tap into an Argus might be... Or Argus or a Sun Fury could be a play here. Has to suicide against this and steal something off me, surely. Alright, got down to 2. We've seen 2 Hellfires. Not many. Down goes a Belcher, okay, awkward. Needs dealing with. Healbot tops up my opponent. So, we are not done just yet. Okay, so options. If I punch through, now, consecrating is problematic because it's going to mean that something's going to get healed and stolen. So what I can do is start doing... Even these are dangerous. And of course my opponent now has enough damage on the table that I need to get rid of some of this. But Sylvanas stealing something. Let's take the risk. Just steal something small. Okay, a boom bot, we can probably deal with that. So we'll then have the ability to grab this, grab this, grab this. Oh, not very lucky with the YOLO play there. Okay, so with some random number generation in our favour, we've managed to squeak through there until a Shadow Flame comes out, and I weep. Shadow Flame would wipe our board completely. Got a little bit lucky with the Sylvanas, of course. If that had managed to steal the Dr. Boom. Siphon Stole, destroy a minion, restore 3. Fair enough. Takes us away from lethal. Not quite. Oh yes, slightly quite actually. Well, note that everything to the face is only going to drop us down this far. Belcher for safety's sake. Puts us in, should be a win, I do believe. Righty then. Oh, in comes a Shadow Flame. And well played. We would have been able to do that, but very close actually. There's the Iron Beak Owl finally. So, one lost net. So that is the end of our little deck introduction to the Strifecro tempo-y, mid-rangey type of Paladin. So as we saw in our first game, we struggled a little bit, made a few misplays, particularly against Sylvanas. Did not grab control of the mid-game as we'd liked. Maybe got a little bit unfortunate not drawing into that Quartermaster. But we shall see. Second game, managed to get a bit back, had a few more drops. Never saw that Black Knight, did we? And also really messed up dropping Tirion in our first game into a mind control. How terrible. But look good. So the deck list, if you're on YouTube, it's going to be in the description below. Go have a look. If you're on Twitch live with us, it's in the chat. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you would like to see some more of our stuff, and the ship does a mega stretch. It's a tiring life being a dog. If you're on YouTube, come join us, twitch.tv/FailCraftCast. Try to be live Monday through Friday. Have a look on Twitter @FailCraftCasts. We will always tweet when we're going to go live. Don't forget youtube.com/FailCraftCast. If you throw a sub there, have a look. I've got loads of videos, loads of quick deck guides and similar, some arena and fun. And then last but not least, website failcraft.org. Throw all the stuff up there too. So if you're live on stream, we're going to be probably silent streaming some games or similar, see how we go. If you are on YouTube, then do like, comment or subscribe. If you liked it, let us know it was good. If you didn't like it, tell us how we can improve. This is FailCraftCasts, and I've been Hammy. Take it easy.